Hello to all of you Tristen Low Show podcast listeners. This is Frank Mandolini. You may not recognize this voice. I am the Italian podcaster who talks about the business side of wrestling. Yeah, I know, it's quite niche. But if you look for last minute wrestling podcast on all of your social media and wherever you get your podcast, you've been amazed to find interviews with people such as Rob Van Dam or Matthew Gregg from Botchamania and many others, so you get to know many aspects of the wrestling business that normally you don't hear in wrestling podcasts. Because let's face it, who wants to hear another guy talk about Monday Night Raw? Yeah, me neither. So guys, go to lmwpodcast.com or search for LMW Podcast everywhere in the interweb. And remember guys, this is Frank Mandolini from the Last Minute Wrestling Podcast, and you stay safe.
The views expressed in this episode are those of the guest and not necessarily those of myself and the Tristen Law Show. Welcome to the Tristen Law Show, where I introduce you to the personalities in and out of the pro wrestling ring. The unique part is you don't have to be a pro wrestling fan to enjoy this podcast. If you don't believe me, well, I guess you're going to have to stick around until the end to find out. I'm Tristen Law, and I hope that you've hit the subscribe button and that you like what I'm doing, because I'm doing what you like. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, don't forget the 5-star rating and review. It lets Apple and other listeners know that this is really cool. I want to know that you're right here with me. So let's do this. Take a screenshot of this episode and tag me on Instagram or Twitter at The Real Big Tris. Yep, it's the same for both. You can also tag the show on Instagram and Twitter at Tristen Show. I don't know about you, but I'm getting pretty used to hanging out with you every week. This is a habit for me as much as it is for you. If you're new here, I just want you to take note that the Tristen Law Show releases new episodes every Wednesday. Welcome to episode 14. I hope that you had a socially distant Halloween and that you didn't eat all of those discounted candy bars from Walmart. Speaking of candy, joining us today is the Chocolate Thunda, the Sudusa, the Big Bad Mama, the head of the Squish-A-Bish Express, and the Gawdess Shawty Karen BamBam. She'll be here with us today, so hang tight. Last episode featured Matt Rivera from TLC's Extreme Cheapskates. If you haven't heard that episode yet, go ahead and listen back after this episode. I recommended that you change your smoke and carbon monoxide detector batteries. If you're anything like me, you don't like doing homework. So here's some homework. Prove that you've changed your batteries by pressing the test button on your detector and tag me in a video on Instagram or Twitter at The Real Big Tris. Why? Because something as silly as that may save your life. Okay, fine. If your detector is hardwired and doesn't have batteries, I still want to include you anyway. So just send the video. I just want to make sure that you're all good. Hey, you know what? You might press that button and it doesn't work, but I'm glad that we found out together. I always love chatting with my female pro wrestling colleagues. Why? Because they bring a whole different vibe and perspective to the pro wrestling game. Previously, we've had pro wrestler Ariella Nix and co-promoter of SWF out of New Jersey, Melanie Michelle, on the show. Go ahead and listen to their episodes if you haven't done so already. And down the line, there are a few more women who I intend for you to meet. So stay tuned. Today, Karen BamBam and I discuss how, although she may look different from what female pro wrestlers are expected to look like, how she still carries herself with confidence. This may be one episode you want to forward to someone who isn't happy with their self-image. Karen and I also talk about how she got into pro wrestling, what it was like growing up a female pro wrestling fan, and much more. Don't go anywhere, because when I get back, Karen BamBam and I will be here. I'm Tristen Law, and this is the Tristen Law Show. Hey you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. That shirt you're wearing is so not cool. Why don't you head on over to TristenLawShow.com and get yourself a new shirt. Not only will you be cool, but you'll also be supporting the show. What are you waiting for? Go now and get a hat too while you're at it. Thank me later. We're the show at TristenLawShow.com. Welcome back to the Tristen Law Show, everybody. Thank you so much, and I hope that you're having a great time. My next guest at this time calls herself the Sudusa and the Chocolate Thunda. She's a big bad mama, the head of the Squish-A-Bish Express, and the Gawdess Shawty. At this time, I'd like to welcome Karen BamBam to the Tristen Law Show. Karen, how are you today?
I'm doing better now. That was my jam. Like, ooh. That was litty.
You like that?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. I mean, the music here on this show, I try to make it different, try to pep you up and get you ready. So I feel like you're ready. I feel like you just stepped through the curtain and you're ready to kick some ass. So we're going to kick some ass for the next couple minutes here. And I'm glad that you're here. And I hope that your people, your fans that are listening to this that don't know you, by the end, they will know the personality behind Karen BamBam. How did you stumble upon your monikers like the Squish-A-Bish Express, the Gawdess Shawty, and etc.?
They just come to me. Like, honestly, I'm just a weird ass person. Like, I just be sitting here just putting. But yeah, I basically do. Like, I'm just very animated and creative. Like, me and my friends, we just pop a lot of shit and just come up with like all these crazy terms and stuff like that. So it's like. So
these are just things you're sitting around. You're like, yo, what do you think about Squish-A-Bish Express?
Yeah, I just be sitting. I'm like, it rhymes, it works. Like nobody else is doing it. Like I like to be original. Like everybody got a perception. Oh, because you a big black girl in wrestling, you got to be awesome Kong number 2. Nah, I'm Karen BamBam number 1.
Hello.
And I'm always gonna be that.
You're from the Bronx like me. And
hey.
Yep, 183rd and Walton Avenue. There's a quiz that I give fellow Bronxites, and it's a quiz that only true people from the Bronx can answer. So if you're truly from the Bronx, are you ready, Karen?
I'm ready. Watch me fail.
Karen, when is the best day to go to the Bronx Zoo?
Shit. My brother used to work there. Whenever it's free, when's the free day? It's like a Tuesday or some shit, like the movies.
It's Wednesday.
I know it's like a weekday. I'm like, I know there's a free day, but I ain't been there in a while.
All right, okay. I'll give you a free pass on that. I'll give you a free pass because, you know, I don't go to the Bronx Zoo anymore. I'm not a fan of the zoo because, you know, we went there so much when it was free. Every school, every church, every summer camp was there on a Wednesday because it's free, so I'll give you a free pass on that. All right, here's the next one. If you're really from the Bronx, Karen, where is the best place to get a gyro?
Probably somewhere on Fordham Ave.
What's the name of the place on Fordham Road?
Y'all gonna have to give me freebies. I don't eat meat no more, so I don't be eating gyros.
You know what's funny?
No, I know it's somewhere on Fordham because that's where all the food is.
You know what's funny? I had Ariella Nix on here, and Ariella was going through the same exact thing as well, too. And she's like, no, but I don't eat gyros. But you were close, just like her. The correct answer is Gyro King on Fordham Road.
Ow, it's always fucking Fordham Road.
All right, the last one. If you're really from the Bronx, all right?
At this point, I'm not. 2 out of 3 already. Let me move.
Where you gonna move, like Westchester?
Shoot, I might as well go to Jersey. The homie had a nice apartment out there. I was like, space? What is this?
All right, so this one should be a gimme because you should get this one because you're from the Bronx. So if you're truly from the Bronx, Karen, what is the native animal to a bodega?
Yes, the little kitty cat.
The little kitty cat. You know what? I have to give you that. I'm going to give you the whole entire thing. You're technically from the Bronx because if you're not from the Bronx, you won't know that the kitty cat in the bodega is the manager. So where in the Bronx did you grow up?
I spent most of my time in co-op, but earlier I grew up around Burnside, Harrison Ave.
So growing up, I knew it was hard for me to be a wrestling fan because I was ridiculed for liking what I like. How was it growing up for you as a young lady and as a pro wrestling fan?
Oh, my brother got me into it, so it was easy. We were just beating the shit out of each other, jumping off the bunk beds and stuff like that. Playing with, got the little squishable little, garbage cans with the little canes all that. It was litty. It was fun. I didn't have any issues with that younger child. I did. As a teenager, I kind of drifted away from it because I got real busy.
Right. Life
happened, stuff like that. And
right.
Got back into it into my 20s and stuff. But childhood, I enjoyed it.
Who were your favorites growing up?
The Rock. I'm drawn to a lot of charisma and stuff like that. Like, he's very similar to me. You always got something, them catchphrases and stuff. That's me. Like, I'm basically, like, I just have my own, like, persona. Jericho, I fucked with him. Oh, I got to give my love to Jackie and Jazz. Just, you know, felt good seeing, you know,
people of
Black
color.
queens out there doing their thing.
That's right. When you were younger, you were watching all these people, these personalities on the television in pro wrestling. What is it that hooked you or made you say, you know what, I can't stop watching this?
It's just crazy. It's just the antics and stuff. Like, I know as adults now, a lot of people be like, oh, like the attitude stuff, you know, it's not like good wrestling, but there's so much to wrestling. Like, I feel like some people just kind of pigeonhole it, and it's like, oh, it should be all these moves. Oh, it's all character. Oh, it's all storytelling. Like, it's all of that. It's everything. It's almost like just life itself. You could compare it to really anything. And that's kind of what I enjoy about it. You can always find something to connect to or cling on to. And it's just over the top. Like, I'm an over the top ass person. I'm a flamboyant person. And I enjoy like the flamboyancy of it. You'll be like, oh, it's so like, you know, unrealistic. And that's what's enjoyable about it. Like, even though there are different types of wrestling.
That's right.
Just as it pertains to the way people perceive, you know, say a WWE type or, you know, I just enjoy it. You know, like, it's good to just suspend, you know, disbelief and just get into it. Get into something, get invested in something. And, you know, I like to fight too, so.
You should be throwing hands back in the day, I presume.
I have to. People was too scared.
You seemed like you were like a mega fan when you were younger. What was the first pro wrestling event you ever went to?
I didn't even get to go. I actually didn't go until I was like in my 20s.
Why'd you wait so long?
I didn't really have the, you know, choice to go. Like, I mean, in my 20s, I could, you know, buy my own ticket and stuff. Like, I can go wherever I want.
Fair enough. So what's the moment that you said to yourself, you know what, Karen? I have to do this.
Watching, like, NXT and stuff, especially when they were doing, you know, the Four Horsewomen storyline and stuff like that. I was, like, really digging that. I was really invested in it. And, like, I don't know. I was sitting at one of the live events. I think it was back in like 2015, probably like SummerSlam. Like, something just clicked and I was like, yo, let me give myself a chance at it. Like, I wasn't much of a dreamer as a child. Like, that sounds mad depressing and stuff, but like, I wasn't. So I can't say, oh, like, I knew I wanted to do it since I was a kid. But it's like, as an adult, especially getting back into it, something just drew me to it. And I said, fuck it. Like, maybe for once, let me be that dreamer. Let me be that person that's going to take a chance and do something, you know, out of the ordinary. And I'm still doing it 3-4 years later. How
did you find your first wrestling school?
I went to World of Unpredictable Wrestling in Brooklyn. So that's run by Johnny Rods.
Johnny Rods. I was thinking about him.
I'm like a little researcher type. So I'm like, oh, let me do a little reviews and run around and stuff. And I made my little list of places in New York. There was like one place in the Bronx, I don't think that's around anymore. And then another place that was Hog. And then Johnny's called the place in the Bronx. I was like, okay, I'll go there. But then just on the way to like work, I called Johnny and something just drew me to it. I'm a very intuitive person. I kind of just go with feelings of things. So when I spoke to him, something just told me go there. I was on the train, getting ready to go into the city early. And I was like, oh, I got some time. And I stopped in before work, talked to him. And, you know, anybody that's seen him know he could talk. So I was definitely late. Definitely late for work. But, you know, it just kind of confirmed it for me. And I was like, yo, I'm going to do this. And went to one of their shows that was happening that weekend. And then I was signed up the next Monday.
What were your thoughts then when you went down there to go meet Johnny Rods and you stepped foot into Gleason's gym in Brooklyn?
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't know a damn thing about what he was talking about. I've learned so much from him, but looking back, like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was getting into. You just come in with a dream, and it's like you come in with an idea, and it's like you really grow as a person if you're receptive, especially with him because he's very old school. So he's not just going to teach you the in-ring stuff. You're going to learn life lessons. You're going to learn like how to apply some of the things that you have to use in wrestling in a business sense to your life as well. You grow as a person. And like, you know, I've just become like way more like secure in myself. I've matured in a different way. And I feel like I've lost the original question. But it was definitely like overwhelming, but in a good way. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, like I'm so scared. It was just like, I feel like I need this and this will be good for me, and as well as like I'm going in the right direction.
So Karen, what's the best advice that Johnny Rods, your trainer, has ever given you?
I think the best thing that he said overall was that anybody could make it. And I feel like the hard thing in wrestling is so hard to compare yourself to other people, and maybe somebody got further than you in a shorter time, or maybe someone's getting something better than you, or maybe someone's look is better, their journey. The only person you in competition with is yourself, because I feel like what makes wrestling so unique is how these different people interact. And when you find what makes you special, nobody could take that away from you. Instead of trying to be this person or that person, like if you tap into your uniqueness, you won't have to worry about, competing with others. That's why I embrace other people. Like I feel like, some women may feel like, oh, I'm competitive with you. No, like if you're new, I'll talk to you whenever. You can always hit me up. I'll always give you advice. I'll help you with anything. Because I don't feel like I have to keep you down or, sun you to feel good. Nah, like if you get good and you get your shit, go ahead. That was your journey. I have my own. I'm going to get what I'm meant to get.
So you were talking about things that make everybody unique and what makes everybody special. So Karen, what makes you special? What makes you unique?
My openness. I'm not afraid to fuck up. I'm not afraid to speak out of turn. I'm not afraid to be out there, be seen. I'm not afraid to be different. I don't feel like I have to hide my body or feel shame or this, that. I come in as authentic. I'm not trying to be anything. I just let what flows come out naturally. Again, I'm a Black girl from the Bronx. I've had a lot of unique experiences in my life. And so the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I carry myself is all a combination of everything I've experienced in the past almost 29 years that I've been alive.
Karen, when people listen to the show, and I never know who listens to the show, there's somebody that I know that listens to the show, and she listens to the show in her office in Florida, and all her other co-workers listen as well too, and none of them are wrestling fans. So you never know how you're going to reach somebody on the Tristen Law Show. So I feel your swag, and I just feel your confidence. And some of the stuff that you said was you don't have any body issues. You just feel comfortable in your skin. Karen, talk to a little girl out there right now, or talk to a teenager, or maybe a younger woman that's younger than you that doesn't feel comfortable in their skin. How can they go on that route and be just like you?
You just have to realize perception is reality. Here, people may see a certain thing as beautiful. You go on the other side of the world, it's the opposite. I know me being a bigger girl is not popular here. All these dudes want to act like they ain't feeling it. You looking, so stop playing. But if I go to Jamaica, I can't walk down the street for 2 seconds without somebody proposing marriage. It's perception. And at the end of the day, you have to choose to perceive yourself as beautiful to feel it, because we all was made, and this is not a religious statement, it's just a general statement, however you perceive God, but we was all made in the image of God. And you have to see the God in you. Your body is more than what it looks like. Your body is what keeps you here on earth. It keeps you able to do the things you love, to communicate with your family, to move, to jump, to sing, to sleep, whatever you like to do. It's not just appearance. And even with appearance, some people may be against it, but you also have options to change it up to make yourself feel better. You can get a lip gloss, get a massage, do your hair one day, put your eyebrows on, take a little extra time and lotion yourself up. There's so many things you can do to feel good. Don't feel like it's just dependent on whoever told you X, Y, and Z box is beautiful, because that's not true.
Let's go back to your first day in pro wrestling school at Johnny Rods, WWE Hall of Famer, at his pro wrestling school, Gleason's Gym in Brooklyn, New York. Karen, describe your first day in pro wrestling school.
Ooh, that was a hot mess. It took me so long. I basically was just on rolls the whole time, just a regular quarter roll. It took a while to get that. Earlier this week, someone was like, oh, if you don't get all the basics and you can't have a match in this amount of time, then you shouldn't do it. And it's well, in that case, then I shouldn't do it, but I'm doing it. It took a while. I'm honestly, when I got home, before I even went to sleep, my whole body hurt just from everything. I was still addicted to it. I wasn't discouraged by it. It It wasn't like, oh, I hurt, I'm not gonna come back. I'm like, no, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna keep doing it. It don't hurt no more. Except after that Rona break, I took that bump. I was like, whoo.
What? Girl, I got a show this weekend, and I'm like terrified. I have been training because I train at ECPW in Jersey. Gino Caruso, yeah, he has the ring, so I go there and I do a little rolling around and whatnot. And let me tell you that first week, I couldn't move my neck. People don't understand what it's like and what we go through. But once you do it, your body calluses up, and you don't feel it anymore. It's just something that you just do.
Yeah, the calluses broke up in this house.
I'm telling you.
Oh, I was hurt.
What obstacles did you face in your initial pro wrestling training?
For me, it was just the physical aspect of it. I think in terms of like learning the craft generally, I mean, there's a lot to it, the mental game, all of that, but the initial stuff is really like the physical, and then I guess, your ability to kind of perform and put it together into like a character. Like, to me, the character shit came easy. The physical things were difficult because I kind of joined up in the middle of like my weight loss journey. At my heaviest, I was like 325, and I worked down to like 230 and stuff like that. So, I was a lot more fit than I used to be, but also like certain things I have to adjust the way I do it because different bodies move differently. And so, that made it hard. And then also sometimes when you do join, it's like people feel like they can determine who's going to be successful. So, this person with this nice body and they got a black belt, they're going to come all the time and be so good, and they're gonna get it so fast, and then they disappear. But I'm still here. Like, yeah, I still can't roll good, but I'm still here,
Was there ever a moment, Karen, that you said, you know what, maybe this is not for me?
No.
So you were hungry for the dream. You never wanted to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my life, I kind of always jumped from thing to thing, and I think as hard as it was, I was still always committed to it. Like, I've had times, like, especially in the beginning when I was kind of getting things down, or when people would come after me and kind of pick up again those physical things a little quicker, that it kind of gave me a bit of anxiety. Because I'm like, damn, what if I don't get it? But something in me just told me, keep coming. It's going to come. You're going to get it if you get that repetition. And I just stayed committed to it through all the difficulty.
So, Karen, my listeners know that I like time travel, that Back to the Future is my favorite movie. So we are going to jump in the DeLorean together. I'm going to drive. Hey. And I want you to go back to your first day in pro wrestling school. But before you go into the school, I want you to stop yourself and give yourself some advice. What would you tell yourself?
What would I tell myself? I would tell myself that you're on the right path. You're doing the right thing. Don't let anything that anyone tells you discourage you, and know that you create your own future. You create your own opportunities. Just keep working hard, keep that hunger, keep that hard working mentality, and it's going to pay off.
We have a lot of wrestlers in the industry. We all have different names. Some of us go by our real names. Some of us go by parts of our real names. Some of us just make up names altogether. So, Karen, how did you adopt the name Karen BamBam?
Johnny gave that to me because I would have never came up with that. As creative as I am. Like, people are like, I knew what my name was and what I wanted it to be. And I was just like, yeah, Bam, and it just stuck, and it worked.
So, okay, if you had to name yourself, what would your name had been?
It would have probably been something real Afrocentric and black and stuff, like maybe like Nairobi, Kenya, something. I like that shit, like, because I have such a basic name. Like, my legit shoot name is Karen, my first name. So it's like, and now that's like, the hated name now. Oh, you're being a Karen. So it's like, I probably would have just did some real black. I'm just more like being myself, and I just kind of let people receive me the way that they do and stuff like that.
Take us behind the scenes of your first pro wrestling match. When was it? Who was it against? And did you think you were ready?
Oh, I was definitely not ready because I didn't even know I had a match. There's a lot of people, especially back then at the time, there was maybe like 40 people in rotation. And I don't think there was like really like an official way for you to have your debut where it's like, I'm going to talk to you before and tell you what you're doing. It's like, especially if you're new, you could be ref and you could be doing anything. I wasn't aware. Like, I'd always just bought pants to ref and other stuff, anything, prepared to do whatever. I was working at the salon. I was already running late, trying to get to like La Boom in Queens, which is like this huge nightclub setup. from like 34th Street at my job. I'm coming in, helping, the little stars with their bags, find them where they at, whatever, trying to be helpful and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, like, you're not ready. You have a match. And I'm like, huh? Excuse me? I basically just slapped on like whatever, like little shorts. I had like these black, like flowy shorts from like ASOS, online store, and like some mesh top and like a little tank top underneath. And then I had like some high ass boots that I just had in my house because I didn't have any gear. Like right. I wasn't prepared to wrestle. And my first match was a triple threat with Sam Laterna or whatever. She's doing like interviewing and stuff now. She has like a show. And then Karen Q.
I've heard of Karen Q. I don't know why I've heard of her. She a WWE girl now or something?
Yeah, she was in the Mae Young Classic.
Ah, that's why I heard of her. Okay.
And she's in WWE now.
You have the ability once again to catch yourself before you hit the curtain for the first time. I want you to stop yourself and give yourself a pep talk. What would that pep talk sound like?
Somehow I always get it together, but again, it'd be the same pep talk as the last time. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you're on the right path. I just feel like it's such a beautiful progress. And it's like, there's not much advice you could give because I feel like a lot of this you just have to experience and you just have to grow from it and learn from it. Like I can never tell anybody enough to prepare them for this shit. Like you just kind of just have to do it and you have to fall and get up however many fucking times. Like there's just nothing verbally that can prepare you for it.
What's the biggest lesson you got from your first match?
I think just trust in the process because I was so nervous. And again, I was thrown out there like, I wasn't prepared. I did okay. Like it wasn't the best match, and it's also a triple threat, so I didn't have to do a lot. I did what I needed to do, and that's it. I think just kind of trying to learn from it as much as possible is the only thing that you can do because you got to have them shitty matches. It's part of the learning process. No matter how gifted you are, you're going to have a bad match or a not as good as it could have been match no matter what.
For real. I always tell the new guys, you're only as good as your last match, man. I was like, every match is not going to be a home run, but you try. Just try and don't give up because
I had a bad match recently. I ain't going to lie. I was tight. I was fuming. Woo, boy.
For my people that are listening that are not professional wrestling fans and they're not wrestlers, what made the match bad in your point of view?
It's a long story. It was just when I started on like the independence, and I didn't start immediately. I trained about like close to 3 years, and I've only done about like 1 full year. I guess I don't mostly count this year because we didn't really do nothing most of the year and it's not over yet. But I was kind of just taking bookings wherever, just because it's like I kind of had to work from nothing. Like at Johnny's, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's more of a closed program. You kind of stay there, you do the shows there. You may do something here or there, but I kind of wanted to branch out and do other things. So I had to build that momentum from basically coming out of nowhere and being relatively unknown. I'm at a different place in my career now. I'm growing. I think problem is that honestly, I need to go. Sometimes some stuff is not worth it to go, but I always feel bad saying no because I work very hard to get all the opportunities that I do get. So if I can show up and I can try to make a match good, I would try to do that, but I really could have just stayed home. As messed up as that is to say.
I could understand and relate. It's sometimes it's hard too turning down an opportunity because that opportunity may not come along again. That promoter may find somebody else and go, wow, I really like that person, and totally forget that you even existed. And then you got to beat down the door just to get a little bit of attention. So I understand. And I'm glad that you didn't stay home because hopefully you get an opportunity to go ahead next time and you get to knock their socks off.
I'm not a cocky person. I'm not like, I got to have, the top person on the card, but like also sometimes people do kind of judge you off of the places that you go and the people and it's that, and it's like, I don't want to be that fucked up person. I don't mind working whoever. I work like all types of people and I don't mind helping newer people and doing matches with them. I don't mind working with whoever, but like also sometimes to keep that momentum going, I got to be more selective,
That's true. That's
kind of something that I'm trying to do as well because we got so many bumps and it's like, I also just can't. No offense, but I can't just be doing whatever no more because like I'm almost 30. I'm getting older,
right.
Now
us wrestlers say that we have a bump card, and eventually you're going to punch out your bump card to where you can't take a bump anymore, because our bodies could only take so many bumps. That's when we fall. And when we bump or fall in the ring, that's like us getting into a car accident every single time. You know, you can get whiplash, you're falling on your back, and people just don't understand. But we do it for the entertainment of you guys and because we love what we do. What are your ultimate goals for pro wrestling?
I would love to get a contract, or at least be able to make my living doing it. Like, I mean, I know the contract is the ultimate goal, but it's complicated because you got to think about the way it changes your life. Like, if you're doing a certain company, you may, have to uproot your life, and then you have a crazy schedule, or another company may give you a lighter schedule, but then you got to work on the side because you don't have that exclusive contract. So it's kind of hard to figure out, like, how do I want my life to be? And I think that's why some people end up unsatisfied, because you got to think about that element too. Like, yeah, we all want to wrestle, but also you got to think about the other factors, like how much you're working, how much you're traveling, how much you can see your family. Do you have to also train in the performance center 6 days a week on top of all these other things, or can you just kind of train on your own time? Like, those things affect your life deeply. You got kids, those factors are going to affect you differently than a single young person who can just kind of go wherever and do whatever and this, that. So I'm kind of trying to figure out in this stage of my life, ideally, because it is still work and I love it and I love my work. And I basically, wrestling is almost 24/7. I'm studying this, that, but how do I want my work week to look like in the midst of figuring out, where I want to be and stuff like that.
Okay, you have the opportunity to sell yourself to WWE, Impact Wrestling, AEW, or some other big name pro wrestling organization. Why are you the best person in a room full of pro wrestlers to be signed to a contract?
Right now, there's nobody that has this body, this charisma, this mind, this presentation that I do. Everything I do is unique. It's homegrown. It's from the heart. Like, I got heart. Like, I'm not just nobody's stereotype. I'm not just the average big girl. I don't even wrestle like the average big girl. I could give you whatever you want. I could give you that 20-minute promo. I can give you the power moves and the agility too. I can give you the glitz, the glamour, the interviews. I feel like I could do it all. Anything in between.
So is there a particular company that you feel that your talents would be better suited for?
I'm not sure yet. I think as I get to know more people, talking to people who have worked at those companies, are working there, and, kind of seeing what their experience is like and what they like about it and what they don't. Because, like, look, any one of them come to me, I'll take it. Like, or some G shit. Like, I'm not fit to cat, but like, if all of them came to me at once right now, could I say for sure which one I would take? At this very moment, not really.
I agree. I totally agree. If any of them came to me, I'm not going to turn it down. I feel that I am marketable, that they can use me for other things other than pro wrestling. I bring more than pro wrestling to the table. So if they need somebody to host a podcast, and I was looking at AEW, I was like, man, if they need somebody, because right now they have Arby Edwards, she's hosting the podcast with like the stars of AEW, but who's talking to those guys from Dark? Who's talking to those, like, those indie talent that nobody doesn't know? I'm already doing that. I'm going to give you $1 million and the top spot in a pro wrestling company. What would you do with your $1 million?
I'll probably try to flip it and invest it. Your days in pro wrestling are not guaranteed and anything can happen. So I want to make sure my money's making money. Like, honestly. Probably get some property too. Something, reasonable where I still got enough left over. But property, car, bond, maybe drop my mom, dad estate, and invest the rest.
Well, if you need a real estate agent in the state of New York, I'm your guy.
Oh, I hear that shit.
Who is Karen BamBam?
She a goddess. She a queen. She a bad bitch. She outspoken. She from the Bronx. Like, she fun, but she gonna throw the hands. Like, she gonna shake that ass, but she gonna fire the fuck up if she needs to. Like, I'm just that bitch. Like, I'm in a box and I'm not. Like, I could just flow. I'm real. I'm a whole person. I'm not just, a character. Like, some people may see that Yes, I'm flamboyant. Yes, I'm out there. But at the end of the day, if we got to talk real shit, it's going to be real shit. That's what it is.
One day, Karen, we're going to have to check out of this hotel called Life. What do you want your legacy in pro wrestling to be?
I just honestly love inspiring people and bringing people confidence. Like, as much as I enjoy doing it for myself, I feel like so much more motivated when people come to me and be like, oh, like, you make me feel like I could do whatever. Or, like, I see little girls that look like I looked like when I was 10 being like, oh, like, I want to wrestle now because I see her doing it. Like, if I make anybody feel good, if I make anybody feel like they could beat the odds, do whatever they want to do, that's what I want to do, because I feel like whatever you put into the world, it comes back to you. And I feel like, we all want and need love. So when you put that love back into the world, it just comes to you. You don't have to go out and seek it. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to. No. If you live with love, you get it back. So it always come back to you.
What's next for Karen BamBam?
Still just wrestling, doing my thing. Like, got a couple dates coming up. I'm going to be at Test of Strength, defending that Test of Strength Championship. Got some other dates that are in flux coming up as well. Tapings and such that, need to be confirmed. But that's the next date coming up, because the girl got to recoup.
Well, very well, Karen. I appreciate the time that you spent here with me on the Tristen Law Show. Everybody, she is the Sudusa, the Chocolate Thunda. She's the big bad mama, the head of the Squish-A-Bish Express, and the Gawdess Shawty. Karen, thank you so much for coming to the Tristen Law Show. Put yourself over and tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yes, my handles is always Bam Bam the Belly. So Twitter, IG. If you search Karen BamBam, you can find me on YouTube as well. I got a bunch of matches there, as well as Karen BamBam on Facebook page, so you can find me lots of places.
Hey, well, Karen, thank you so much for hanging out with me here today. Everybody, don't go anywhere, because when I get back, I will give you my thoughts on this interview with Karen BamBam, and I will tell you who will be here with me next week on the Tristen Law Show.
Hey.
Hey there, it's your pal Tristen Law. Do you find yourself skipping past these evil advertisements every week? Well, you should feel lucky to skip past this one, because I have the solution for you. Run on over to patreon.com/Tristen Law Show and free yourself from the evil grip of advertisements. Choosing the ad-free support option, not only will every episode be ad-free, but you'll get every episode days earlier. But if you love the ads here in the Tristen Law Show, there's an option on Patreon to simply support the podcast. There's something here for everyone. Head on over to TristenLawShow.com for more info. Welcome back to the Tristen Law Show, and I hope you're having a great time. Special thanks to MNYS for I Liked You Better Before You Were Unhinged. Just search MNYS on your favorite music streaming platforms. I listen to this and all his tracks on Apple Music, and if you too would like your music played here in the Tristen Law Show, our contact information is at TristenLawShow.com. Visit the description of this episode for links. MNYS. I don't know about you, but after my chat with Karen, I love how she sees herself. She's got a lot of swag, and you can't knock that woman off her pedestal. I love the part of the chat where she talked about guys in Jamaica who would marry her on sight. Let me tell y'all, being Jamaican and being in a Jamaican family, yeah, I guess that's all the same. I know exactly what she means, but the point was not to move to Jamaica. The point is, don't let anybody devalue you, and don't make anybody feel like you're unlovable. Because if you ever feel like you're unloved, just know, 100%, I'm glad that we get to spend a few hours here together each week. Karen, thank you so much for the time, sis, and I'll see you down the road. Next week in the United States is Veterans Day, which is the 11th of November. And what else happens on Veterans Day? Oh, I can tell you. New episode of the Tristen Law Show drops. So just to give you a quick rundown on Veterans Day in America, the United States, is where we honor all who have served the country in war or peace, dead or alive. It is largely intended to thank our living veterans for their sacrifices. It was originally called Armistice Day, which commemorates the end of World War I. So in spirit of Veterans Day, join us next week. We'll be pro wrestler and United States Marine, Sergeant Cash. I need a favor from you. Yep, I'm talking to you. Share this episode on social media. Don't make this a thing that you do. Let's make this a thing that we do. Walk up to a random stranger and tell them to listen to the Tristen Law Show. Yeah, they might think that you're crazy, but who cares what other people think, right? Fine. If you're worried about being judged, go on over to TristenLawShow.com and hey, buy a t-shirt at least. People will think that you're really cool. Rate the Tristen Law Show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, please. Reviews mean a lot. Whichever podcast platform you're using to listen to the Tristen Law Show, please subscribe to get notified when new episodes drop. The best part is, when you do that, it's free. Learn more about myself and the Tristen Law Show by typing TristenLawShow.com in an internet-enabled device for more info. I'll be here waiting for you next week. I'm Tristen Law, and until next time, adios.